Hello all and welcome to Wow Crochet yet again for another tutorial. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are making this gorgeous Halloween cap. We're keeping in theme of our other Halloween projects that we have made. So far we have done the Halloween coaster, now we're doing the cap, and next week we're getting into something new. Very exciting. I know you see too. Because this one here was actually made using a 4-ply cotton, which I believe is a number 2 overseas. And this one here is made using an 8-ply cotton, which I believe is either a number 3 or a number 4 overseas. However, you can actually use a 10-ply cotton as well, which could be a number 4 overseas. All I know is that if you use this one here, this is the one we're using today, if you're going to use a thinner thread, you have to change the size of your stitches. But this is the one we're working on today with an 8-ply cotton or a number 3 or 4 overseas, all right? And again, you can use a 10-ply. It may come out a tad loose or a little bit longer, but it will still fit your head circumference, all right? So that's that. And that was our little coaster that we made last week. If you wish to make that, then I will leave a link to the coaster in the description box down below. Yes, it is a spiderweb coaster. And yes, this is our black Halloween cap. We used, and I used, literally only 30 grams of cotton for this. Okay, now I used 30 grams cotton because there's a whole lot of holy gappy spaces there, as you can see. All right. 30 grams, I don't know, roughly 100 meters or 100 yards, 110 yards, maybe, roughly around that much. But again, it's quite gappy, so there you go. Okay, and this is the actual cotton that I used. It is a black cotton from Bendigo. I don't think they make that one there anymore anyway, so I won't advertise the name. But it is a black cotton. You can use any black cotton, and if you prefer wool, by all means, you can use black wool as well. What can I say about it? It was very simple for me. The only difficult part was probably these little, what did I call them in the tutorial? Gypsy tails, I think I called them. That was the only difficult part, but I believe if you persevere, you could get this right, even if you are new to crochet. If not, I do give you an option during the video to actually repeat these 2 rows right here, those 2 chain rows that you see, that one and this one here, to repeat those until you reach your desired length, but you won't have the gypsy tails if you do that. All right, so take a rest. What can happen? What can happen, really? You're not cutting any threads, so you're not damaging it, really. Okay, what you will need for this tutorial is you'll need a 4.5 hook and a 3.5, because your 4.5, I'm sorry, whatever hook size your cotton or your yarn calls for, that's what you need to use. But when you get to these things here, you need a hook size smaller, or 2 hook sizes smaller, or even 3, because these you can make them very, very thin if you like. So they can be even extra thinner than what I have there. All right. I used the 4.5, and then once I got to here, I changed to the 3.5 millimeter hook. You will need your sewing needle. You will need your stitch marker, and yes, you will definitely need your scissors. Now, I think I only weaved in 2 threads, and that was about it, because it's made in one piece and it's made relatively easy and I think quick as well. So I'm not going to talk anymore, guys, because once again, the tutorial does go for a long time. So go ahead and make your Halloween cap. Good luck, guys. We're going to start off with a magic ring or magic circle or magic loop. If you are not confident with that, just chain 4 and slip stitch into the first chain that you made. In the meantime, we're all going to be doing this one here, where you yarn over and you pop it over your finger. So your tail end is in front, your working end is at the back under your finger there, and you formed a cross like that, or an X if you will. Grab your hook, pop it under your first loop, get that back loop, pull it up and hold it there. Now you have to hold everything in place with your fingers. Don't let go, okay? Grab it all into place, and now we're going to start with chaining. Chain 1, which is yarn over your hook, pull a loop through once, yarn over twice, yarn over 3 times, still holding everything, don't move it there. Now we're going to do a double crochet in that first space, and that's yarn over, hold your hook, pop it in the space, don't let go of the space, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Now if you want, you can give that tail end a bit of a tug, but leaving enough gap because you've got to put another 10 double crochets in that space. Grab yourself a stitch marker. All right, now I'm going to show you exactly where to put this stitch marker. All right, that's your double crochet right there, the one we just did, right there. Right next to it, you've got to find 2 loops and pop your stitch marker in that space right next to it. The little chain stitch right next to it. That is the 3rd chain that you did when you first chained up your 3. Okay, so grab your hook and let's do another 10 of those double crochets. Get a nice close up for you so you can see. Yarn over, pop it in the space, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. And another one. Now your chains in this row here will act as double crochet. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 12 altogether. 5, 6. You can probably give that tail a little bit of a tug, not too much. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right. However, we're not going to close up yet because we want to make sure we actually have 12. So I need you to count these little chains that you have here, because this will put your whole count out when we do the design. Okay, so you're counting those little things that look like V's up the top there. They look a bit like V's. Very hard to see the black. Just grab a needle to show you. Right there is your first V. Okay, so you are counting, and if you struggle with that, just count the posts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then you've got your stitch marker 1, which is 12. All right, I know we did 12, but it's always best to count each round, and I say that often because people say mine didn't work and I don't know why. Well, that's because we messed up count here somewhere, or any row after it as well. So now you've got your little tail end. If you give it a tug, you'll get that little magic happening where it closes up shop. Okay, so drop your tail end. Now, the reason we put that stitch marker in is because we need to slip stitch. So all you're doing is grabbing your hook. There's no yarn overs or anything, just grabbing your hook and popping it in that space where your stitch marker is. If it helps you to take out the stitch marker, which it does for me, because I crochet very tightly. So then all you need to do is grab a thread and pull a thread through, and then pull it through to the loop on your hook. Okay, so now you've made your circle, you've formed your circle. Now this is actually a stitch here. We are chaining 1, 2, and 3. Now it pays when you're putting a stitch marker in to do it in that chain rather than doing your double crochet first, only because you might pop it in the wrong stitch, right? Now I'm making a mess here. All right, and there you go. Now in that same stitch that you just made, you are popping a double crochet in the same space. All right, and there you go. So you actually have 2 in that space right there. Now in every stitch you come to, so in every V that you come to, there and there and there, all the way across, the first V is right next to your stitch. Don't miss it. You put 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Now if you played your cards right and you counted properly, you'll end up with 24 stitches by the end of the row, or 24 V's, or 24 posts, however you want to count them. Okay, So just keep putting your 22, just keep putting your 2, I don't know why I'm saying 22 now. Just keep putting your 2 double crochets all the way across, and I might just speed up the process a little bit. All right, so looking at your stitch marker there is actually one more space in there. Okay, so you do 2 double crochets in there, 1 and 2. All right, just pop that loop up a minute and count your stitches. I just go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22 and 24. Now if it pays for you to count one at a time, just count those V's or count the posts again, all right? However is easy for you. That's just the easiest way I know how. Next row is going to be different again, all right? Slip stitching into that stitch marker space right there, nice tight space. Pull that loop through. Oh, should have taken the stitch marker off first. Silly me. Doing well. All right. Oh, what did I do? Keep it over here. We need it for the next row. All right. So that's that. Yes. That's 1, 2. We need to do another 2 more rows before we start our design. So chaining 1, 2, and 3, grabbing your stitch marker and popping it in that chain. And all you're doing is putting it through 2 loops. And 1 loop is underneath and 2 loops are on top. Hope that helps. Oh, that was a very tight stitch marker, that one. Now we're putting a double crochet in the same space. All right, so you've got 2 in this round. 2 in the stitch. In the next one, you will put just 1. Making sure you put it in that first stitch. And in the next stitch, you're putting 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. In your next stitch, you're putting 1 double crochet. Sorry about that noise, guys. In the next stitch, you're putting 2. And in the next one, 1. Are you getting the picture? And in the next one, 2. All right. So it's 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. All the way across. Go ahead and continue in that manner, and I will meet you up when you get to the last stitch, which will actually be a 1 because we've got 2 double crochets in there. Okay, go ahead and I'll meet you up. Alrighty, here I am at the end of the row. Now you should have ended up with in your last space just a 1 double crochet. Making sure you count your stitches. You should have in this round 1, 2, 3. It's a 3rd round, so you should have 36 double crochets. Okay, that's including your chains, so you should have 36 posts in this round. If you haven't, go ahead and check where you went wrong because you need 36. You need more for the next round. All right, so we are going to slip stitch again in, oh dear, did we get in? Yes, we did, in that space right there. Easy? Okay, so chaining 1, 2, and 3. Whoops, forgot to take the stitch marker out. And popping that stitch marker in again in your 3rd stitch right there. Okay. All right, now once again you are popping another double crochet in that space right there. Okay, now in this row, 1 double crochet in the 1st stitch, 1 in your 2nd stitch, and then you are doing 2 double crochets in your next, 1 and 2. All right, that's how easy this row is. 1 in your next stitch, 1 in your next stitch, and 2 in the next, 1 and 2, 1 in the next, 1 in the next, and again 2 in your next. I think you get the picture, yeah? All right, so what I would like for you to do is to head off on your own. You are doing 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, and so on all the way here. Get to your last 2 stitches, and what you should end up with is the 2 1-1s. So 1, 1, and then that will be your 2. All right, so get to that stitch and I shall meet you up. All right, here I am at the end of the row. I have 2 double crochets left, so it's 1 and 1. Now you should have 48 stitches at the end of this round. If you haven't, check where you've made a mistake and adjust it. Slip stitch into that nice tight stitch there. Did it go in? No, it went into the second one, didn't it? Dear me. Slip stitch into your stitch marker. Got it, finally. The stitch markers are helping my stitch be a bit more loose, at least. Okay. And there you go, we're slip stitching in. All right, now this is where our pattern will change. Let's get the original. Okay. Now this is where these, oh, you won't be able to see that. Let's do it here. This is where these chains are now coming into action. All right. Chain 1, we are going to do a single crochet, and a single crochet is you pop your hook in that stitch, pull a loop through, and you should have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. Now we're going to grab our stitch marker and pop it in that space as well. I'm sorry, not the space, the stitch. And you are popping it through, 2 strands on top and 1 underneath. It's a really tight stitch marker. I'm bearing with it, guys, but it's a really tight one. All right, and in this round here, you're chaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you'll be counting 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th stitch, you pop your hook in and you do a single crochet. All right, and that's your first loop right there. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Count your stitches, 1, 2, 3, and in your 4th one, you are popping your single crochet. So you are actually still increasing by adding that extra 5th chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Single crochet. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Single crochet. All right, I'm going to let you head off on your own, continue in the round, and get to the last 4 double crochets. Don't slip stitch, just get to the last 4 and wait for me there. Alrighty, here we are at the end of the row. I have 1, 2, 3 stitches left, and then I have my single crochet in the 4th stitch, which is exactly where we want to be. Now, what you need to do here, we're not going to be doing chain 5 and then slip stitching into that single crochet, which is what we would normally do for normal things like coasters and things like that. But in this case, we want to start our next round in the middle of these chains, okay, to form our pattern. So what we're going to do is just chain 1 and 2, and then we're going to do a double crochet in that stitch, okay, to join. So yarn over, pop it in where your stitch marker is. It's different. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So it's a different look, but it's only because we want to land in the middle of our double crochet there. All right, I hope that makes sense. So we're going to start chaining over that now and popping our single crochet in there. And this time let's pull that little loop out first, that little stitch marker first. Okay, and we are going to chain 1, single crochet in the same space as our chain 1. It's a bit tight there, guys, sorry about that, but it does work. And there's your single crochet. Now what I want you to do, grab your stitch marker and pop it in that single crochet that we just did. Okay, now we're going to chain 6 this time because we're still increasing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I just want to show you in a minute with the other beanie what we're doing exactly. We are now skipping over that single crochet, jumping straight into the center of these chains, working around them with a single crochet. So just work around the chains with a single crochet. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Skipping that single crochet, jumping into the center of those chains and do your single crochet. All right, so I just want to show you exactly what you're doing. All right, that's what you're doing. You're forming that look right there. Now let me show you the look you're actually forming. You are forming that. There's your fives. Sorry, there's your fives. And now you are doing your sixes. Okay? So you're going to have that look. It's very pretty, isn't it? I love that look. I want to make more of these, to be honest with you, in different things like doilies and so on. So that's coming up in the future. In the meantime, let's continue. Chaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Skipping your first single crochet, jumping into the chain space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and jumping into your next space. All right, easy. I'm going to leave it there. So I'm going to get you to go ahead and continue in that manner all the way around. When you get to that last space, just do your single crochet in there and wait for me there, because we're going to do something different to join again. All right, so go ahead, continue in that round, and I shall meet you up at the end of the row. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row, and your piece should look like that, obviously, with all the big loose gaps you've got there. However, we have this space right in here, and we need to close it up. So we're chaining 1, 2 and 3. Okay, and now we are putting our double crochet in that single crochet, because we want to start in the middle yet again. All right, now take out your stitch marker and get ready for pattern round. This is going to be good. I love this round. All right, so we are starting in the middle of this section here for the pattern round. Then we're going to jump into that section, and then we're going to jump into that section. All right, so pattern round is chain 1, 2, 3 and 4, and grab your little stitch marker again and pop it in that fourth chain. Oh dear, it's so hard to find, isn't it? Did I crochet that too tight? Yes, I did. Here we go. Let's take that out. There's always one in every tutorial, isn't there? Or I lose the plot, and I've lost the plot. Okay, here we go. No, I haven't. I'm a good girl. Okay, so in that space, you are going to do a treble. When we do a double, it's yarn over like so. Okay, just once. When you do a treble, it's yarn over twice. All right, so yarn over once and yarn over twice. Pop it in the same space. Okay, no stitch, just in the same space. Pull up a loop like normal, but you now have 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on your hook. Usually you have 3, but you yarn over, you pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through your next 2, yarn over, pull through your last 2. So it's kind of an elongated stitch, if you will. Okay, yarn over twice again. We're going to do another one. Pop it in the space, pull a loop through, 4 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the next 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. We're going to do it again. Yarn over twice, pop it in the space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 and the last 2. So what you have is 3 trebles plus these 4 chains, which will classify as your 4th treble. Okay, and now we chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to do the same thing in the next space. Instead of doing your 3 trebles, you're going to do 4 trebles, because these chains has acted as the 4th treble here. Okay, so yarn over twice, pop it in the next space right next to it, and do your treble, and do your second treble, do your third treble, and do your 4th treble. All right, so you now officially have 4 trebles, chain 1, 2 and 3, and do 4 trebles in your next space. It is a very basic pattern, just the stitches are a little bit more elongated, that's all. Oh, I did a mistake already. Oh, I forgot the treble, I did a double. Mary, wake up. Oh dear. All right, so there you go. That's your first treble. 1, 2. Second treble. 1, 2. Third treble. Sorry about that scratching. That's the stitch marker, guys. And your fourth treble. Again, chain 1, 2, and 3. All right. So this is what I would like for you to do. You need to do just that. 4 trebles in each space that you come to. 4 in there, chain 3. 4 in there, chain 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, all the way until you get to your very last space. Just stop there, the space right there, and I shall meet you up. Alrighty guys, this is what your work should look like. You should have 4 trebles, chain 3, 4 trebles, chain 3, all the way around. Make sure you check that before you start your next round, otherwise your count won't marry up. Alright, so here I am at the end of this round. Let me show you. And I did tell you to get to that very last space, complete it, and now you have this big gap. It looks huge, but once you slip stitch it through, it'll be normal. So what you're going to do is chain your 3, 1, 2, 3 at the end of that last 4 cluster set, and then you just slip stitch in that tight chain that I did earlier, remember? That nice tight chain. Dear me. Oh, there we go, we're in. All right, pull that loop through, okay? And just pull up the loop. You don't have to, I will. I just want to take my stitch marker out for a minute. All right, let's pop that there again. All right, so this round is a little, it's not tricky. You're using the same trebles. You just have to know exactly where to put your double crochet. I'm sorry, try your trebles. You have to know exactly where to put your trebles and where to put your chain spaces, okay? So on top of that first treble from this cluster set, you are putting 1 treble, which is actually 4 chains in this case. So we're going 1, 2, 3, and 4, and remember to pop your stitch marker in because that's what we'll be slip stitching to. Okay, get in there. So now you need to put a treble in that last stitch right there, but before we do, we need to chain 2. So you're going to chain another 2, 1 and 2, and then do your treble, which is your yarn over your hook twice, and pop it in the very last treble that you did in that previous round. Okay, there you go. All right, so what you initially should have is a treble, chain 2, and a treble all in that cluster set. And then here you're putting in 3 trebles. So yarn over your hook twice, pop in 3 trebles into the space. So it's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you've got your treble there in that stitch, 3 trebles in the space. You're going to put a treble in that first stitch. Now this is the start of the pattern, okay? So your treble goes in that first stitch right there. Chain 1 and 2. You're going to skip these 2 trebles and pop a treble in the last treble of this cluster set. All right, and now you're going to put 3 trebles in that space. 1, 2, 3. So you've got your treble in your last one, your 3 trebles, and now you need to put a treble in that first stitch there. We are starting the pattern again. Yarn over your hook twice, pop it in the first stitch, chain 1 and 2, yarn over twice, pop it in the last stitch. You're skipping over those 2 in your last stitch right there, and then you're doing your 3 trebles in there. So it seems difficult, but it actually isn't, okay? It's a repetitive pattern across the way in every section. That's your 3rd treble, and now your pattern starts again. I'll just do one more time. Yarn over your hook twice, pop it in your first treble, chain 2, 1, 2, yarn over your hook twice, skip these 2, jump into that last treble with a treble, and then do, whoops, 3 trebles. I nearly did a double then, didn't I? 2 and 3. All right, now this is the row that may tug a little bit. Oh, sorry guys. This is the row that may tug a little bit. That is normal, okay? That is normal. It's not going to pull real tight, but it'll tug very gently, okay? Now, you are doing treble in the first one, chain 2, skip 2, treble in your last one, 3 trebles in your space. That is the repeat all the way across until you get to this last section here. When you get to the very last section, before you start your next set, just wait for me there, okay? Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row, and your work should kind of buckle that tiny little bit. Okay, that is normal because now it is actually starting to close up shop to become your cap, okay? So now I have told you to get to this last little set here where we started at the first one. So you're doing your treble in that very first stitch. There. You're chaining 2, 1 and 2, and doing your treble in your last stitch right there. All right, now ordinarily we'd slip stitch to that, but we still have that space we need to fill in, okay? So you're doing your 3 trebles in that space. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now you're going to slip stitch in the top of that 4th chain right there. Let's get a nice close-up. Remember how we did 4 chains and then we chained 2 to jump over the cluster set? Well, that's exactly what we do now. We're just going to slip stitch straight back into that 4th chain. Oh, that didn't work. Here we go. Let's try that again. Let's try that again. All right, there we go. Take out that stitch marker. And grab your loop. Pull it through and pull it through to the loop on your hook. And there you go. Now you're chaining up 1, 2, and 3. All right, and all you're doing in this one is double crochets in that space. You are just doing 2. 1 and 2. So you're putting 2 double crochets in the 2 chain space. Yes? Now you are going into that 1 stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you are doing double crochets in each one of those stitches. So double crochet in the first stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'd like to say that the pattern starts here like it did before, but it doesn't matter because it's the same all the way through. 2 double crochets in that 2 chain space and 5 double crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, your 2 double crochets. I've got a tangle here, so I'm going to look at the knot. Look at that. Look at that right there. Can you believe it? I'm going to have to fix that off air. But in the meantime, this is the easy bit, guys. You are doing a row of double crochets all the way across. 2 double crochets in the space, 5 double crochets across, all the way until you get to your last 5 double crochets and meet me up there. Alrighty, here we are at the end of the row. I've put my last 2 double crochets in that space. Now ordinarily I would need to do 5 across, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the 5th one is actually already done because it's on top of that very last double. So really we only need to do 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now, best part is, guys, you thought this row was easy. Next row is going to be super easy, or easier, if that makes any sense. Slip stitch into your stitch marker like so. Pop the stitch marker out. You're going to need that in a second. Chaining up 1 and 2 only. Okay, so let's pop a stitch marker back in that little stitch there. All right, want to see how super easy this one is? Firstly, these chains here that we just did belong to that stitch there. So your next stitch is right there. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to do a half double in that next stitch. So yarn over, pop your hook in, pull a loop through. 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Super easy, yeah? Yarn over, next stitch with a half double. Yarn over, next stitch with a half double. You guessed it, yarn over, next stitch with a half double, and so on and so forth, and all the way across your row. Super easy. I told you it was going to be super easy. That's what you need to do. Half double in every stitch you come to. Get to your last couple of stitches and I shall meet you up. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. I have 1 and 2 stitches left, and the 3rd stitch is occupied by these chains here. So yarn over, do my half double in that next stitch, and my half double in the very next stitch. Now we're going to slip stitch into that tight stitch there. Pull a loop through, take out your stitch marker. Now remember how I said this row was super easy? This row is extra super easy. Chain 1 and a single crochet in the same space. Pop your hook in, pull it through. You've got 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, grab your stitch marker. And when I say that this row is extra super easy, it is just that. See that next stitch you got there? You're going to pop a single crochet in that stitch right there. And another one in the next, one in the next, and one in the next, and the next, and so forth, and so on again, all the way across the row. Oh, I'm getting excited. You know why, guys? Because we have 1 row left for the beanie. I know this sounds weird, but there is only 1 row left. It will work, trust me. Do your single crochets in the round, get yourself a couple of stitches away, and I shall meet you up. Here we are at the end of the row, so I have 2 more single crochets left, 1 and 2, and I'm going to slip stitch. Oh, I've split the yarn there, dearie me. I'm doing well. All right, let's have a look. Unsplit that yarn. I don't know, there's always one, dearie me. Okay, chain 1 and single crochet in the same space. I may have mentioned that this was the final row, but yours truly has forgotten. Let me show you the other beanie. Okay, the other beanie, how silly am I? Look what I've got here. I've got the 2 rows of lace before that border row. I am so silly. So we're going to do some lace. I'm sorry, guys. It's not too long. They won't take long at all. Trust me, they're very quick. So now we are chaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we are counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and in that 5th stitch we are putting a single crochet. Now you've done this earlier in the other rows, different stitches of course. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're single crocheting in your 5th stitch. So you know exactly what you're doing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, jump into your 5th stitch with a single crochet. All right, so that is how super easy this part is. I want you to do exactly that all the way across until you get to your last 6 or 7 stitches, and I shall meet you up. All right, so I do have 7 left. Instead of making that smaller and popping one in the middle and having too many gaps, I think I'll just make it one big one. Now you go 1, 2, 3, 4, And we are going to do a double crochet right over in that space. So double crochet right in your stitch marker. And there you go. All right, so you kind of have that look. A little bit tight, but that's okay. Chaining 1 and a single crochet back in that stitch. Now you are grabbing your stitch marker and you're putting it in that single crochet. So we've kind of gone backwards, haven't we, really? Only for this kind of stitching. Oh, I've just split the stitch there. Good on you, Mare. Let's try that. That's better. All right, now we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and you are going to single crochet. You're going to skip over that single crochet and you're going to single crochet in the center of that chain space. Now you've done this earlier in the beanie. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip that single crochet, jump into the chain space with a single crochet. 1, 2, 3, whoops, that didn't work. 4, 5, jump over the single crochet and into the space with a single crochet. All right, so that's pretty much all I want you to do. That gorgeous little, it looks very much like a crisscross, you know. So keep doing that. Single crochet, chain 5, jump into your next space. Single crochet, chain 5, jump into your next space, and so on and so on and so on. When you get to this space right here, do your normal single crochet, chain 5 and jump into here, but wait for me there, okay? Alrighty, here we are at the end of the row. I said pop a single crochet in that one right there. So you've got this massive gap here. Remember, this space was fairly big earlier, wasn't it? So we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4. And what do we say? 5. All right, and then we're going to put a double crochet in that slip stitch. I'm sorry, in that stitch marker. Get it right, Mary. All right, there you go. Just take that stitch marker out now, right there. Beautiful. All right, now you're going to chain 1. You're going to put a single crochet in the same space. Now this single crochet here is the start of your next round, and this space is going to be pretty busy, okay, because we're going to slip stitch back into that space in a minute. So it's going to be relatively busy. Pop your stitch marker in for now. Okay, all right, this part here, we're going to pull up a loop. Take your hook away. Now, you were using, or I was using, a 4.5mm hook. For the next step, you will need either a 4mm hook or a 3.5. Now, yours truly is going to use the 3.5. Next step, the cotton, the actual stitch itself needs to be quite thin. So now we're going to chain 11. Don't make them too tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, just turn your work a little bit because you're going to be working in these chains. All right, so yarn over your hook. You're going to be doing, I just put that out, let's bring it back in again. You're going to be doing double crochet 3 together, okay? So you're counting 1, 2, 3 and 4 chains. You're going to do that double crochet 3 together in that 4th chain. So yarn over your hook, pop it in the chain, pull up a loop, should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2, hold it there, yarn over, pop it back into the space, same space, yarn over, pull up a loop, 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, back into the space, and you do it the last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yarn over, pull through the first 2, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on your hook. Chain 1, 2 and 3, and you are skipping 1, 2 and you're jumping straight into that 3rd stitch with a slip stitch. Okay, chain 1, 2 and 3, and then you are slip stitching way back in to that single crochet. A little bit tricky this bit, okay? I'm going to do a few for you so you don't get stressed, okay? Because once you can do it, you can actually do it, all right? From here, you are going to single crochet, you are going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Single crochet in that chain space. Yes? And then you're going to do one of these again, okay? Turn your work to the side a little bit. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now you're going to do your double crochet 3 together in the 4th chain from the hook. So count your chains, 1, 2, 3, and pop it in that 4th one right there. Pull a loop through, yarn over, pull through 2, hold it there, yarn over, back into the space. Pull a loop through, 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, back into the space. Pull up a loop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yarn over, pull through the first 2, 4 loops left, yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on your hook, chain 1, 2, and 3. And then you count 1, 2, and you slip stitch into that 3rd stitch right there. Count 1, 2, and 3, and then you're slip stitching way back into that single crochet like so. All right, chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet into your very next space and hold it there for a minute. Okay, I'm hoping you understood that part of it, okay, because that's exactly what we're doing. You are doing one of these in every chain space that you come to. So I'm going to do another one for you so you understand it again, and then you can come back and just rewatch this video if you're struggling with it, just this section of it. All right, so we start with a chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yarn over, skip 1, 2, 3, and pop into your 4th right there with your 3 together. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Counting 3, 1, 2, and in your 3rd one you are slip stitching. Chain 1, 2, and 3, and straight into your single crochet that you started with, you are slip stitching. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet in your very next space. All right, so I don't want you to sit there and watch me do it. Keep going in that manner until you get to that one right there. So don't worry about here, just get to there and I shall meet you up. Alrighty, here I am at the end of the row. I'm going to chain, I still have this one last set to go. So I'm going to chain my 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then I'm going to skip my 4, 1, 2, 3, I'm sorry, maybe skip my 3, pop it in the 4th. Get it right, Mary. Whoops, yarn over, pull through 2, and the 2nd one in there, and your 3rd one in there, and that's it. Now you're chaining 3, 1, 2, and 3. Slip stitching in the 3rd, so it's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, 2, 3. Slip stitching into that same single crochet. All right, now this is what you have. Remember our last stitch had quite a few chains extra. It's going to be the same here, otherwise your beanie will pull. So what we're going to do is chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're just going to slip stitch into that busy stitch that we had from the beginning, like so. All right. We could have left it at 5 and made it really tight. We could have put it at 7 and made it loose. Pull up your loop. Give yourself a nice long tail. The only reason I say that is in case you do find it's a little bit tight or a little bit loose when you put this on. All right. So I think it'll be perfect. All right. There you go. Oh, let's get them all the dangly ones hanging down. And that's what your work should look like. Okay, there's a lot of them. We'll call them gypsy tails. How's that? All right, so guess what, guys? You've done. You are done. But you do need to weave in these ends. Now, yes, we used the magic ring here, but I would like for you to weave this end in and out of this circle that you did. In and out from the inside of your beanie, or cap, if you will. I just wanted to show you this last one. If you're okay with the fitting, just go ahead and do this bit right here. Oh, this is so hard for me to thread this needle with this finger like this. All right, now, so there's my little knot right there. All you're doing is finding a chain that you finished off with, pop it in the chain so that you can pass your needle through the back of your work, like so. You can take your stitch marker out if you like. All right, now all you're doing, turning your work to the back. Now weaving your stitch, I would go into wherever you see your single crochet. So weaving your stitch in and out of different stitches in the area. Now it's a bit tricky because you don't have many, so just go into the thickness of that single crochet that we did. That's the main one we've been following all along. Don't get your little tail stuck like I have. Naughty gypsy tail. All right, so there, pull that through like that. You know, making sure it's taut but not pulling too tight where your whole beanie is moving around. Now, just find, I know it's very fiddly, guys, just find another space to go into. It's very, very difficult, even with the lighting. It's really difficult to see black, isn't it? Oh dear. Anyway, just keep weaving in and out of that single crochet stitch right there until you've weaved in enough, because you don't want for this to come undone. And it's way at the back, so if you think people can tell, no, they can't. Not unless they get up real close and say, aha, I know what I can see. And there you go. I've put that through about 4 or 5 times, really only needed 3, but there you go. So give it a cut, trying not to cut your work. And there you go. You have your little Halloween beanie. Ta-da! One Halloween beanie finished and one coaster finished. So you have 2 items finished already. Yours truly has 3. Now I only have 3 because the first one I did, it's tiny. I did it in a 4-ply, which is like a number 2, whereas this one here was done in your 8-ply, which is kind of like a number 3. And you could also get away with doing this in the 10-ply, which is a number 4 cotton in your country. Don't forget to join us again in the next week or so to get more projects done. Oh, you're going to love the next one. And don't forget to join me on my lives on Wednesdays live at 4 p.m. Melbourne, Australia time, or Saturday mornings live at 10 a.m. Melbourne, Australia time. My name is Mary and this is Well Crochet, and all I can say right now, guys, is ciao for now.